She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to
I'm Rick the critic, and today my guest is Askia Makawil. You're going to love it. We got a great show coming. Welcome, Askia. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you are here.
I made it, honey.
We had such a great conversation when we first met, and Askia talked about health. We talked about, so today, get your popcorn, get your peanuts, whatever you need. Get back to your sofa. You do not want to miss this show. This is great. Askia, welcome. I'm so excited about you coming.
I'm so glad that you invited me to the show and to sit here with my sister, and we just going to have us a good time.
Absolutely. Now listen, tell me what your name means.
Askia Mawakil Askia means king, Mawakil means one who not betray your trust.
Ah.
So, and it helps, I'm a herbalist, so I cannot betray anybody's trust. So it's just part of my profession, so it works with it well.
Now tell me, because that's how we met. You're an herbalist, and tell me, what is it that you do? Tell me. Tell the people what an herbalist does.
Or slash holistic practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fifth generation. In fact, my great uncle was Booker T. Washington, herbalist and MD. So for 5 generations, my family have been herbalists and holistic practitioners. But I take it to another level because, I always think that everybody in life, everybody comes here for a particular purpose. And I am so blessed from the Creator to let me know what my purpose here is. And I enjoy what I do. And I just love being able to assist other people with their health. And when I mention health, I do a series called Live Long and Prosper, which is a combination of mind and body. Because, a lot of times, it's not just about herbs, that's fine. But if your mental capacity is off balance, you're not going to be healthy anyway.
That's true. That you bring up a good point, because it all has to line up.
Yeah.
So now tell me, how do you balance that with the herbalist, with the herbal part and then the mind? How do you balance that?
I think that first of all, trying to explain to people that it's like, say for instance, weight gain or any major condition, usually is weight gain or major diseases not because of the fact that it's like people with weight gain. A lot of times it's not that the food that's the problem, it's the mind's the problem, because usually the mind controls the body. You see, so how we think, that's what controls the body. So weight gain doesn't mean that I eat better. It means I'm preoccupied with everything else and I forget about myself. And that's
Are you serious? That is interesting.
Well, everybody, we get so preoccupied with every aspect of life that we forget about ourselves. We're so caught up into living, but or existing, but not truly living. And it happens in every aspect. If it's weight, if it's any other thing, it's just as bad as an addiction if somebody have to work all the time. That feels that they have to be able to, I have to have this, and I have to have this car, and I have to have this, and I have to have this, and I have to have this. I mean, that's an addiction too. Because life is, I always say that we're just spirits having a human experience. And so what happens is that we get so caught up into everyday life that we forget our whole purpose in the life. And this life was to try to find ourselves.
Now, with your herbal, when you're doing, because I know you do some consultation, and when you just say, for instance, I come in and I got a weight problem, and I'm coming to you. So your consultation would be what? It would be first mind and then body, or how exactly does that work?
First of all, we have to become friends.
Yes.
We have to be able to connect, because I can only deal with people that are willing to connect. And people that are willing to look at themselves in a different light, because I always have to start out with the mind. Because see, people have a whole lot of reasons why they want to make changes. I'm going to a wedding. I have had people, it's January, I'm going to a wedding in March, can I lose 90 pounds? No, you can't. I'm a herbalist, I'm not a magician. I can't do abracadabras, So a lot of times they get so preoccupied, and so that's not really a reason.
Okay.
The real reason is that, first of all, how did you get in the condition that you're in first? And most of the time, it has to deal with how subconscious issues that you're dealing with. Because I always tell people, when you buy a mirror, the mirror doesn't get any bigger or smaller. Measure it 10 years later, it's the same size. But you change in the mirror. That means that you got preoccupied. The mirror didn't get preoccupied. So we got to see what impacted you in your life that you forgot about you. And once we could reach that area, then we could work on programs to put your health back in order. But as long as we're still in denial that there's something else going on, like I tell people, if a person is 200, 300 pounds overweight, they're really starving. That person is starving themselves to death. Say, how can they be starving if they gain weight? Well, they ate stuff. They didn't eat nutrition. The body craves for nutrition. Zinc, potassium, B1, B12, amino acid. Body don't know about grits, egg, Kentucky Fried Chicken, burritos, tacos, Chinese food. If the food don't have any, if the food that we eat doesn't have the levels of nutrition, then the body is going to be deficient. And when the body is deficient, the body is always going to be craving. So what happens is we go through a whole aspect of craving food with no nutrition. So this is where the weight comes in. But once we can understand that, first of all, you have to look at yourself. What have impacted me in my life? What have allowed me to get off track? Why am I not paying enough attention to me? Once we have that breakthrough, then we go into the areas of putting together formulas that would help assist you in that. But the primary thing is you. It's always us.
Yeah. I don't think that, Askia, I don't think that we go back to that. I think we just think that we just eat too much and we have bad eating habits. I don't think we ever think about it's something more, or you know what I'm saying, that it's the mental part of it. We never think about that. We just think we're just eating junk and empty calories.
Well, when we think, when we look at American society, we got the highest level of diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. The average person that's over 50, 60 years old are usually on 3 to 4 medications. By the time you're 50, you're on at least 1 or 2. Now, what is it about this society that we think that being medicated is a part of our makeup? That's what we came here. We came here to be medicated. And then we go, it's funny, I always laugh because people go to church every day and they read the Bible and they say, in the Garden of Eden, I didn't see where they had the Xanax pill, the blue pill, the green pill. It wasn't even there. I thought it said something about let the seeds and the fruits be your meat.
Yeah.
You see? But we get so preoccupied into this, I have to have medication, and we hear words, it's inherited medication. Well, I'm blood pressure because my grandparents had blood pressure, my parents had blood pressure. Well, your grandparents might have been some negative people. I always internalized everything. Yeah. I always wanted to argue. I always had conflict in their life. And as a child, you learn to model yourself after them. So you have the same habits. Yeah. So it's genetically that you have to be on a medication because your parents were, or your lifestyle. If you ate the same food that your parents ate, then you're going to have the problem. If you think the same way that your parents thought, then you can have the same problem. So we have to really question this word inherited, but we hear it so often. You inherited, so you have to be on medication. It's unnecessary. It's like people dying at 65 and 72 years old. And it's funny they die usually 2 or 3 years after they retire. So your Social Security money can't be willed to your grandchildren. So we just understand, is this really what's going on? I don't know. I ain't saying what's going on, but we have to seriously ask all these questions. But first of all, I say that we have to understand what we are primary. And primary, all we are is spirits having a human experience. See, once we understand that, you are an exceptional being, I think that's one thing that we get so preoccupied that we forget that we're an exceptional being to be here.
Yes, we are.
I mean, we won the lottery. 6 billion sperms headed for 1 egg, and we the only one made it. Can you imagine the odds of even coming into this reality?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when that sperm hit that egg, the rest of the sperms around it said no one could come in because the chosen one was on the way. But we forgot that we were chosen. So we get so preoccupied with the aspects of life that we forget about who we are and what we are.
Yeah.
And this gets it. So old African proverb said, before we became physical, we were at the light level, but one day we looked down at our reflection and we gave a reality for the illusion. Yeah. We get so caught up in the illusion of life that we forget the reality of life is truly trying to find ourselves. See, the only person that you came here is to try to find you. But we are educated to go into 6 different fields. In school they give you 6, 7 fields. They never asked you what you were here for. They said, these are the classes that you should take, and you have to be able to fit in one of these classes, or you're not going to be successful.
Not a part. Absolutely.
This is insane.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't know the difference between educated and knowledgeable. Now, do you want to be educated or do you want to be knowledgeable? Do you have to, does education, to be knowledgeable, you have to be educated, or can you be knowledgeable without formal education?
Yeah.
You see?
But you know, Askia, you bring up a good point. That's pretty much the first thing they asked you when you go to the doctor. It's okay, did your parents have cancer? Did they have high blood? I mean, you go through this whole list of stuff, and then they say, okay, then this person had it, so that's why you had. You know what I mean? So you hear that over and over. And I tell my children and I tell my friends, doctors are not in the habit of making you well. They got to have they've got to pay for this, they've got to pay for that. You know, so when you come, the more pills that they give you, the more money they make.
The old joke said, a guy went to a doctor's office, and the doctor said, sir, you got 6 months to live. He said, doc, I can't pay you in 6 months. The doctor said, hell, I give you another 6 months to live. Just pay me.
Yeah,
You see?
yeah.
So we have to understand that a lot of times there's a financial reward.
Yes.
There is no profit in health.
Yes.
You see? If everyone's healthy, then you might live to be 90 years old. You retire at 65, you get 30 years of your money back if you were healthy.
Yes.
So, you know, there is no profit society having set up a formula to work with having a society of healthy people. Because if we were healthy, then we would retire at 65, we'd live to be 95, 105, and all our money comes right back to us. Now, the society is not set up for that. It's geared. Everything is calculated of how long the life expectancy is going to be. You know, life expectancy is 65 years old. Well, you set in programs that make people stress themselves out. Because one of the biggest problems about health is stress. We stress. Woo, we stress.
Yes.
We, you know, it's the old saying, we spend all our health to get some wealth, and then we spend all our wealth to get back our health.
Yes.
Now, that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, people will drive down the street with a $60,000 car, and they never left the country. You know how many times you can leave the country with $60,000? You can go visit other countries, stay for a month or two, meet other people, experience, climb mountains, sit by the riverbank, meet people of all different nationalities, you know, smell and touch and feel the earth that you come from in. But you feel that you're successful because you got a $60,000 car. When the light changes, somebody looks at you and your ego pops in. They looking at me because I look like I'm successful. Now that's complete insanity.
Yes.
You see? So we think that success is having, you know, money in the bank. But most people haven't deposited nothing in their memory bank in 20 years, 20, 30 years, thinking the same thoughts they had 20, 30 years ago. The key thing is success is when you find you, when you love you. Why? Because the body reacts to how you feel about yourself. See, if you're happy, optimistic, cells work together. Your body regenerates itself when you're happy and optimistic and you feel good about everything. And when you deal with a lot of negativity, the cells work independent of each other. Yeah. Example, you ain't got no money in your pocket, you get less energy. You get money in your pocket, you get more energy. How your body know you got paid? You send a signal that you were happy.
Yes.
You know, it's like this. The power of the mind is a powerful tool. Because the body is going to react to how you think. I mean, I always ask this question, have you ever known a healthy hypochondriac? No, because the hypochondriac have talked himself into being sick. So what happens? The body reacts to it. Now, if the hypochondriac has the power to talk itself into sickness, what if you just flipped the script and thought the other way, thought about good things, speaking to people? See, one thing that we do is that we pass people and won't speak no more. You know, it's funny when animals show more humanity to each other than humans. When dogs will sniff and bark at another dog, but we will see other human beings straight in the face and will not say anything to them. You don't know what that person, see what you're doing in that instance is that you're saying that I don't see myself as value and I don't see that other person as value.
Yes.
Because you never knew what you might be able to pick up from that person by saying good morning, hello, how are you doing, opening the door, greeting someone. You might bless somebody with some energy, and you got some energy from it too.
Yes.
You know, it's like being on an elevator, nobody wants to say hello, nobody wants to say hi. And you know the pressure that you're under because nobody wants to say anything, and you can't wait till that door opens. It's like an explosion. Let me get out the door. And all I had to do was say, good morning.
Yeah. We have to get back to that. We have to get back to being able to, because the only time that we really acknowledge one another is in an emergency, in a crisis situation. If there's an earthquake, it's like, you know, who's my neighbor? You know, I remember when we were coming up, and I say this all the time, you know, there was a front porch There was Miss Scott across the street, and if you got out of your neighborhood, someone said to you, "Wait a minute, ain't you so-and-so's boy? What you doing over here?" You know, and they ran you back home. And then if someone was always watching. Yesterday I was in Inglewood, and there were a group of kids. I kept hearing all this noise, and I thought it was the birds, but it was actually these children, and they were coming down the street, and they were fighting, and it was just crazy. And I thought, wow, what just happened? So then the police come, and I thought, all this negative energy, you know, what's happening that it's already hot, humid, and they acting just totally crazy out there. So I thought, this is really, we're gonna have to start getting back to looking and, you know, seeing things. I know someone probably called the police, and I was upstairs on the 5th floor, and I was thinking, if I was downstairs, by the time I really registered, had I been downstairs, I probably would have went down there and said, "Hey, look, wait a minute. You know the police is coming in a minute. You know, just disperse or whatever." I would have said something. No one wants to say anything anymore. Everyone's afraid.
No, we've been conditioned, and this is conditioning of the society, that we're losing our humanity. You know, I mean, I see people crossing. One thing my mother always laughed. Sometimes my mother taught me something when I was 5 years old. Before you cross the street, look both ways that you go. Now you have adults passing the street texting, and not looking in both ways. You know, it's amazing when we were growing up that we had children, and there were adults, and adults act like adults, and children act like children. Now you have, but now society have toys for adults. And adults get and act like children because they have a lot of toys. They play with toys. They can't wait till the new something come out, and they be at the store. I remember when a friend told me when the new device came out, they had people bringing their children to sleep at the store before they could be the first one. You see? So we're losing so much of ourselves. And the thing, first of all, is to realize that I have value in me. When I have value in myself, then I can see value in you. I mean, if you had a diamond, and you saw a diamond and a piece of coal, you saw the diamond, you would be attracted toward it. You see? But what we do is we look at people as a little piece of coal. We don't see no value in them.
Yeah.
And there's always value. Why? Because of the fact that everyone has something for you to give you.
Yes.
I mean, who can you learn from? A wise person or a fool? Both.
Both, absolutely.
A wise person can teach you some wisdom, and a fool could teach you how not to be foolish.
Yes.
So listen to the fool and see how they became the fool. But if you argue with the fool, a third person to pass by will know who's the fool. You see? So just learn to listen, because everyone has a message. We got to try to find this God force, this power in everyone. Everyone has it. Some people haven't tapped into it. And this is why we have to, even when we have difficulty in our life and dealing with people, sometimes we just have to learn how to forgive. You know? We have to learn how to forgive. You know, even when they, you know, in Christianity, they say when Jesus was on the cross, he didn't say they had Satan. He said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they're doing."
Right.
So sometimes people have hurt us. But we have to be able to maybe back up for a minute, but we have to forgive and let go. We hold on to a whole lot of animosity. We will not talk to brothers and sisters that took our cookie when we was 5 years old. We still mad. We still mad at our own sisters and brothers, and at the same time, having nieces and nephews that won't play with each other because we too selfish to let something go.
Yeah.
And even sometimes to raise your spirit to the higher level to say that I'm sorry when you didn't even do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
See, sometimes you have to raise yourself to a higher level of understanding and consciousness.
Yes.
The key thing in life is peace. And when you're at peace with your health, when you're in peace with your mind, then you become balanced. And then you can be on your journey to find yourself. And that's a beautiful journey.
Well, you know what? Now, that's interesting that you say that, because if you were to take a survey, you would find most people say, you know, some people say, "I know what I'm here for," and most others would say, "I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. I know I'm here to do something, but I don't know what it is." And what you're saying is that if you are at peace with yourself, then those things will just come to you. Those good things will come to you.
Well, see, you know, there are certain laws of the universe. There's a power of magnetism. There's a power of polarity. Because everything has an opposite. There's a power of vibration, the law of attraction. See, all these are laws that are universal codes. Now, when you are a positive person, usually positive things come in your life. I'm not saying certain things won't come in your life,
Right.
because everything is not supposed to be pleasure. We always think that pleasure is the goal to have. No, it's not. Difficulty. You know, when you work out with weights, it's not pleasurable, but it makes you stronger.
Yes.
You see, so we have to go, 4 things have to happen to us before we get a birthday. And if only 3 of them happen, we're dead, and that's called summer, spring, winter, and fall. So we got to go through these particular seasons. We might be in one season of difficulty right now, but the next season. And it's all based on your perception, because your perception changes your whole outlook. Always remember, what's meant to hit you will not miss you, and what's meant to miss you can never hit you. So whatever we're facing in our life, we have to look at it as an initiation to the next level. Either it's a hole or a porthole. It depends on how you view it.
Yeah.
This is the power that the human has, because what we are is spirits in a human form. You see, but so we get so caught up into the illusion of the human form that we forget that the power of the spirit is so much stronger. And this power of the spirit is connected to the all. You know, can the creator be the all without us being a part of the all? That means that I have the power of the all.
Yeah.
It's like the Zulus used to say, being with universal law and order is like being one speck in a boulder. Because when that speck rolls, that one speck will crush you too. One drop in the ocean. When that ocean roars, that one drop will drown you because you have the power. But we forget the power that we are.
Yes.
The power that is our birthright. And we have to learn to be patient when things happen. Sometimes we want instant gratification. But sometimes things are working themselves out, but we have to have patience and be consistent. I remember when I was a kid, my mother would be baking a cake and I would just run. The oven was in, the sugar and the butter and the flour was in the oven. And every time I went for that door, she would say, close that door, it ain't ready yet. Time was the missing ingredient. And sometimes we have to understand that time is working things out. But we have to be consistent in what we call into the universe. What happens, it doesn't move as fast as we want it to, so we change the channel. It's like listening to a radio, you want to listen to a song, and you can't hear it on the station, you change to the next station, you change to the next, and at the end of the day, you never listen to the song, because you wouldn't wait for it to come on.
I think that's all of us. I see it even in the communication, even with the children. We had some children that volunteered when we were over at our old station, and their communication skills were just, it was like they were just, but when they got on the, you know, if they were texting, it was, I mean, they could communicate. I mean, they could do that all day long. And I noticed that even with my grandchildren and my children. If I call them on the phone, you know, it takes hours for them to get back to me. If I text them, it's like, right away,
Well,
right away.
That's one of the scary things about technology, because you lose so much of your humanity. You know,
It's meant to be that way.
Yeah.
It is. It's meant to be that way. Listen, we are coming to a close, but listen, would you come back? Can we do another show?
Anytime you need me, my sister.
Absolutely.
Right,
listen, I am so, and I mean, you've given us some invaluable information here today, with keeping our peace and keeping ourselves healthy. And just little things, just in a few minutes, could you just give us quickly just a couple of things that we can do just to stay peaceful?
Love you. The key thing is loving you. And look at everything that you think, that you internalize, and everything that you internalize in your body, how it impacts you. You see, you have to learn that you are a being, you are a special person, you are a precious item. And everything that you look in your life, you have to think in those terms of how do I think, what am I here for, and what do I put in my body. See, one thing is that we have to understand that this is the temple, this is what's going to carry us, this sustain the spirit here, is this physical body. So yeah, you could be spiritual, but you have to be physical too. And this physical, you cannot put anything in your body that detach you from your goal. So it's learning what to eat. You know, like I said, always start off with your water. I mean, when you talk about internalizing, breakfast means break fast. Learning to put fruits and vegetables in your diet. And I think, you know, the next show we could, you know, kind of ad-lib on that a little bit more and just really.
But water, you said, is the most important
water
thing
is
in the
one
morning.
of the most important things. Making sure, the key thing, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. You know, be a label reader. I mean, you cannot go to a store. You go to people's home, they have boxes of everything. And it has something in it, preservatives. You have to watch the preservatives. I have a friend that was at the coroner's office. She said bodies don't even decompose like they used to because we have so much food that has so much stuff, and it's not food. There's a difference between food and stuff. So what we do is we go to put a lot of stuff in our body, but we don't put a lot of nutrition. Because see, nutrition allows your body to vibrate at a higher level. Your thought patterns are better, your concentration is better, your sleep is better, your vitality is better. It's because it's an organic, we're an organic organ. The only thing that's going to assist the body in its health is an organic formula. So it's really start paying more attention. Because, it costs much more.
Okay. Before we close down, please tell us how to get in contact with you. I know that you're also a motivational speaker outside of being an herbalist. Tell the viewers how to get in contact with you.
Anytime that you need me, because I just say I'm a citizen of the world, and all of y'all my family. My name Askia Mawakio. You could always get in contact with me at Askia, ASKIA.me, and that's my website. You can look me up. Or you can get in contact with me at Askia. My phone number 323-761-9893. 323-761-9893.
Askia, thank you so much for
thank
coming.
you, my
I am
sister.
so
Thank
excited
you.
about it and glad that you're here to do the show. Listen, you got it. You heard it here. You got a little bit of information, but you can call him. He's a motivational speaker. He's a consultant. You can call him. You can get information. And thank you so much. I had such a great time in your living room today. I look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you again. And Askia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me again. Thank you.
Rick, the critic, when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick, the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic. Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic, 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 Rick, the critic. Rick, the critic, when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick, the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and